You know that studying the classics will enrich your understanding of how we got here. You know that enriching ideas can't necessarily be expressed in flashy, instantly digestible ways. And you know that taste comes in a palette, and that enjoying stupid action doesn't preclude you from liking poly-sci-fi. If you let personal taste be an AT field hiding you from challenging media, then consumption is masturbation. And I love to masturbate, but I also think about the future and shit that matters. Decades ago, sci-fi media often opened by text crawl, but these intros became unsexy beside the atmospheric thematic lead-in, best exemplified in Inglourious Bastards. This is an aesthetic, not a rule. Drip-feeding information over minutely detailed dialogue isn't always appropriate. To explore a philosophical reality to its full potential, one must craft specific circumstances plausibly leading to its formation. And if you can successfully interest me in your setting in a timely, dramatic fashion, effectively compressing what might have taken episodes of dialogue to explain into a perfectly communicated minute-long intro, then you have my attention. Years ago, I defended the expository dialogue in Psycho-Pass, framing it as a character beat, but this was mere justification. It's 5 minutes of screen time. Akane should know this information, and we could have learned it in the opening minute, subtracting this undersold, confusingly impersonal establishing sequence that attempts to set up the main rivalry, which isn't even relevant until episode 3. There's no reason this flash-forward couldn't have dramatically opened that episode, more noticeably emphasizing this character's arrival, except that they wanted to market him early. Mobile Suit Gundam has an engrossing opening sequence. It is dense, but in 1 minute displays aesthetically phenomenal, imaginatively realized sci-fi, hyperbolically apocalyptic history, and satisfyingly stupid new technologies, telling us so much about the creator's hopes and fears for the future that the sequence alone is a 10 out of 10 short film. Gundam's theatrical cut is a non-stop bombardment of intrigue. Each moment describes the logic behind the technology and/or the motivations of the characters driving the plot. Events follow logically. The films would hardly even be dramatic if not for Char and Amuro's relationship antics. Remove the romanticism of samurai robots and a future wherein autistic lolicons are the most important people in the universe, and left is a dry historical account of a fantastically plausible future war, notwithstanding how fucked the canon will eventually become. It's understandable that young anime fans are hesitant about engaging with Gundam because the original has become thickly shrouded in context, now unrecognizable as a singular work. The most recommended version is the compilation film trilogy, which some fans insist removes essential elements, which is a senseless argument because the films have best stood the test of time as the iconic telling. If you're looking at the images on screen, then you've realized Mobile Suit Gundam features consistently phenomenal backgrounds and that the character designs are varied, have personality, and pose well. However, they animate like shit. Defenders will claim that this is because the films are compiled from TV footage and that there wasn't high-quality TV animation in the 70s. Hayao Miyazaki's Future Boy Conan begs to differ. Gundam is not victimized by age, but by the cynicism that's plagued the industry since Yamato spawned the first cheap trend. Yoshiyuki Tomino was and is an auteur creator, but was not allowed to do whatever he wanted with Gundam. He wanted a white robot because it's a military device. It needed primary colors to sell toys. Granted, Gundam deserves to be iconically popular and to reach beyond the hardcore crowd, but this was not Tomino's vision. He wouldn't have been given the money to make that. Mobile Suit Gundam is a fundamentally flawed masterpiece. The film trilogy cropped out the bad parts, but the pacing doesn't work cinematically and the animation is weak. In order to maturely engage with the work, we need to excuse and move past this because Gundam is conceptually awesome and its worth shines through these problems. If you spend enough time with it, as Tomino was made to, you may eventually ask, what if? Could we just remake the trilogy but tighten up the pacing and modernize the animation? This is prideful immaturity, an unwillingness to own our mistakes. It's not Tomino's fault they didn't trust him enough to gamble on his vision. We can appreciate the series being good without wasting time and money to make the same artistic statement in HD. But could we refine the idea, rephrase it with more clarity? Tomino tried that with Gundam F91, A Tale of Hubris. We already live in a world with Gundam. New characters will be negatively compared to old ones who've completed decade-spanning arcs, embedding themselves in the cultural understanding of this universe. Gundam F91 is gorgeous, opening on one of the most impressive tone-setting sequences ever. Legit, the craziest depiction of the chaos of war I've ever seen. It had my balls in a grip for 20 minutes until it turned into Gundam. I already watched Gundam. Who's this kid? I want Char! Tomino didn't get to continue this trilogy, so he made the next Gundam shitty and depressing until they let him leave. Then Sunrise just paraphrased his iconic characters until we accepted that Char just will reincarnate in any permutation of the Gundam universe, probably with the same voice actor. Granted, this addiction to proxy gave us Gundam Unicorn, stunningly beautiful and a complete engaging narrative with a white robot based on Tomino's novel. novel. While less iconic than the original, it is a satisfying follow-up for imagining how it might have been handled in light of its own influence. It's been followed only by masturbatory fan service, but at this point mecha fans will gladly take a handy. Go watch the original film trilogy. Pause and take breaks. The pacing can be exhausting, but it's worth it because the story is good. It has the gravity of understanding history and a great vision for humanity's future, as a new type race of empathetically evolved autists surviving in and rebuilding a world which the evil of their forebears brought to ruin, and it was copied by every anime you've ever loved. Consider supporting me through Patreon, my playlist of everything I appear in, my Twitter, IGTV, and everything else linked below. Thanks for watching.